What's up, everyone? This is Anthony with A Crew Gaming. We are back in Satisfactory, and I got this all figured out, I believe. So I've got at least some of the screws going up into storage. Set up some more storage pods in here, and they are rolling out of there. So we're cranking on those again, and we need to get these storage pods set up over here. But I've got some. I think this one's empty. This won't be a problem to move. Yep. We'll move this guy. And this belt is going to become obsolete, so we can move this guy. And I love this feature that you can click from so far away. You do have to be careful with it moving or taking stuff apart, but it is definitely a cool feature that you don't have to walk around everywhere and get everything picked up. So let's see here. How many things are actually in here? Whoa! That is a lot. I cannot hold that many in my inventory. Let me stop this belt down here. Just stop them both right here. I wish there was a way to like move it without having all the stuff come out, but it's not a big deal. Oh, actually I could have. Oh well, that's alright. We'll just stop the production down there for now. It'll actually take a while for it to even just fill up that belt, so what I'm going to do is just build a temporary floor over here, and we will move them to this side for a second. This will not be their final home, so it's not a big deal. We'll remove them, and you can also, so if you don't have enough space, you can see that I don't have hardly any space in my inventory. You can still pick things up, and it puts a little crate right there, and it's got all the stuff in it that you could not pick up, so you still don't lose any inventory. When you don't have enough space to pick it up. And these don't really matter where they're at, but I'll probably still put them organized anyway. Alright, so let's go in here and just do something like this. Access this. And then I'll pick all that stuff up in a second here. I guess that'll only work for one of these. Oh, there's a couple other weird things in there too. Did you notice that? Whoops. I wonder if you can control click. Nope. I think you can actually shift click though. Yeah. So shift click or double click to move stuff over. And I don't know why those other two things. I wonder if I accidentally put something in there. And that was all of those. Okay, that didn't fill us up. Good. Because we're going to have to move some stuff back from all the stuff that we dumped in there. So that wasn't too bad. Let's see, we're going to keep some of these on hand because we need them. A couple hundred though. Sort, get everything where it goes. 200 of those. Iron plate, concrete. We are golden. We don't need copper for anything, but we have it. So, let's get these storage pods set up. Same as before, I'm just not doing them too wide. These screws are going to be used so much that there's no way that I will, well, I say that now. I may have to increase them. I don't know that I have enough space between here to go up a whole nother level on them. So if I do have to increase the storage here, it may just be one more level and using the stackable, the two high storage units. So, all right, let's start with these guys. All right. Could be right in the line, so one's kind of down there. Perfect. Now, all of the belts on these are going to have to be the higher end, the Mark II belts. Because you want the screws going through this whole process at that speed. So you can't put the Mark I belts on any part of the output on the screws themselves. Otherwise you're going to be losing productivity. Come on, just there we go. Sometimes my mouse works just a little bit too good, a little bit too sensitive. And it might be the table on that too. There might be some background noise. We're trying to get ready to go. I have one last video here to get completed. Why do I feel like this is not going to work? Why is there no room over here and there's on the other side? What happened? Alright, we gotta figure this out here. Is that one like all the way up against it, maybe? Might be like one space difference here. No? Something funky there. Oh, because I did it different, didn't I? I did. Well, dang it. So, we're gonna have to move this. How did I do that? So did I go into the... I went from the outside in. And on this one I think I went the other way. Yeah. I need to move that whole unit over. And hopefully that doesn't run into any issues. It's not going to be a huge deal. I can make one of these just a little bit not straight. But if I can avoid that, I will. It definitely should be... Oh, you know what? So I would have to do this one. This guy straight? I think so. Definitely is. Oh, and see, this is the center line here. And that kind of goes over the center line just a little bit. We'll see here. I'm not going to redo all of that over there, so we'll see what this does. I will just put these two right next to each other, and we will make it work. this guy around. So that one will be just a little bit off, just a little bit crooked. But it's not going to make a big difference. Except that oh, okay, you know, and then this one will, yeah, okay, I think it'll work. Because I'm going to have my outputs coming off of here. So, and then they should go up over this part here, and then I can loop them back around down that ramp. So what I did over here was, the only one that I needed one space in between was these two, where I've got this extra merger. I moved the outer ones all the way out and got rid of the gaps in between the ones where I don't need the gaps. So the first two and the last two on both sides, and then I was able to make a bigger gap in between them here. So that way we don't have to run the screws back that way and then come back to the factory floor below from this side. So it worked out really, really good, but we'll see. This one, let's start over here. Because I did it wrong again. Oh man. I need to remember to go the opposite direction. So on that side, my input was on the right as I was facing the storage units. On this side, it needs to be on the left because the belts are going the opposite direction. So and if it were more complicated to build in here, that would be an issue, but not too bad, so we're alright. The spacing's a little bit weird, but that's alright. What is that lining up with? Alright, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out the spacing and everything on this because I probably am gonna have to redo something over here. Because the spacing on that side is like awesome, and the spacing on this side, actually the spacing can still be correct on the storage, it's just not the belts aren't going to be straight, but that's alright. Can't have everything perfect. There we go. And they really do need to, hopefully they've got some lights planned, because you can see, like, I mean I'm outside, so I get that part of it, but if I go down here inside the factory, like, it's dark, especially if you shut the flashlight off. It's kind of hard to see what you're doing down here. And these little poles do emit some light. And you can really only tell that it's emitting light when it's next to a wall piece, but hopefully that's in the works. I don't think it's available at a higher tier, but if it is, we will try and find it. But like I said, we got this storage going here, and then it's just a matter of building out the conveyors on it. So, oh yeah, we need to fix this guy. Correct? Our input is there, lined up with that one. So these are all backwards. So you just have to flip it, unless you want to, like if I was taking all my materials to that end, it wouldn't be a big deal. But since I am centralizing all of them, your containers are going, or everything should be rotated differently. It'd be opposite, so that everything goes to each other. And that means, like, little lag spike there. the material travels that way here, and it travels that way here, and meets in the middle. So they have to be opposite. And I didn't do that. So these two will not link. That's kind of what I was looking at earlier. I was going to think about putting a merger in there, but I can't put a merger in there anyway. And I actually need 3 of them going down there and not just 2. So I will have to figure that out. What I may do is the bigger belts coming down from 2 and then going down to the bottom, because we need 120 per minute for each one of our constructors, right? Assemblers. So what I'll do is I'll use the heavy duty belts coming off of here and going downstairs, and then I'll split them down there, and that will be what, 270 in half is 135, so that will more than feed our feed the plants down there. And I may even use the heavy duty belts going into those assemblers as well to try and get that all set up, but we shall see. So this process is pretty simple. I think I've showed you this before, but like I said, if you use these no matter what, if you're doing top-down storage or bottom-up storage. So it doesn't matter, you still have to use these conveyor pulls, and you do have to have them. I think this is the minimum that you can have them apart from the actual storage. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7 spaces away from your storage units, otherwise the belts are too steep. So, and I think, like I said, I think that's the minimum. That'd be pretty close. Get those set up, and then remember we've got to use the bigger belts. Conveyor belt Mark II, not Mach 2. So now, just got to pay attention to our inputs. This one going up to there. It'll come out here, down to this one here, and then loop around. So it loops around to this guy. From there it comes down into there. It's not really down, but and then there goes down to there. That loops around there, and then this goes down to the bottom. And then you just have to remember to hook up the conveyors on the back. And that should link every one of these together. And I did forget to do that on one of my big stacks over there. And it was the one that's feeding my screws downstairs. And it was like way underproducing. I was like, what is going on? I just completely forgot to hook up one of the belts in between, so it was all stopped. It wasn't going all the way through the storage. It's like, oops, that would make a big difference. So now you can run this guy last, because if you run him first, you run into some clipping issues every once in a while. Not so much on this one, but I'm going to on this one. And then we can set this guy down here. The merger, right? Yeah, lots of inputs, one output. So these are both, I guess I don't have I need a merger here. That is a merger. Oh yeah. So these should both be outputs, I believe. Not sure why the green arrow is over there. I don't know. But let's make sure this works. And again, even these have to be bigger belts. Yeah, that goes in there. Why was it saying I could do this? I wonder if I had this guy set up wrong. I think I might have the output on this one to that direction. I do. Yep. Because I was originally thinking I would go out and merge them, but I can't do that anyway. So let's dismantle this guy. And you do have to take the belts around it off, otherwise they won't connect. Even though it's in the same spot. There we go. Now we've got now I've got what it's supposed to look like. So if you see these arrows here, you can usually see them when you're trying to place something so that it tells you what direction you're facing, what it's going. But it didn't make sense because these two were able to connect, and I know they're not supposed to. So I originally had this thing turned that direction. So that was what was going on. Stumped me for a second there, but we figured it out. I've done that a lot in this game where you like just takes you a second to stare at the process and kind of what's happening, and then you kind of figure out, oh, this is what I need to do. Alright, we got input on this one going to there, so we should be coming down from here, and sometimes I can get a torque from this side. There we go. We'll need that one connected, we'll need this one connected. And if you're confused on the order, watch the first one, because I'm going to go all out of order on this one just to get it going. Just want them all linked together. So this should be something that we can replicate, this storage and this kind of idea of taking the material from below, or from above, storing it below, or sorry, creating it below, storing it above, and then bringing it back down. It's going to be something that we're going to replicate on all of the factory floors and all the factories. So I really want to get the setup figured out on this end of it, and I know that there's not as many components as we go on with the other materials, so it's not going to be as huge of a deal. But if we can get a good system figured out here, then we can replicate that in the next factory. So probably am taking a little bit more time getting everything set and pointed in the right direction on this one. But like I said, that way we can just replicate it as we go. So this does clip that belt a little bit. If you set it before you do the belt, you won't be able to set the belt. So just make sure you set this after, or you probably could move it over and put it over here. But I put a little bit of a space in between it, so I like it to be right up against that conveyor pole. And this guy's going to connect to that guy. So that should get those two storages going to this one location. Yep. And I've got material coming out here, going through here. So that means that all of those are linked together. And then we just have to repeat. And hope that we didn't use any of the wrong belts in there, because it will create a bottleneck. I don't think I did, but we shall see. Oh, jeez. I don't know why it's getting so laggy all of a sudden. Probably my internet connection. I'm recording during the day too, and I usually do it at night, so Probably has something to do with it. Those are connected, those are connected. Got this guy. And then we are going to have to create some steel items to get the other ones to connect. Or to get the other belts built. Whammo. And those should be cranking. And this at least will give us a pretty good start on this. Oh geez. Hitting buttons while I'm jumping. On the screw production. Oh yeah, I need to finish this guy. That way we can kind of get ahead on it. And before we start pumping out some other materials with it, so. The rest of my, I showed you that yesterday, all of that is still keeping up. We may, I think I still have one more line. Oh, I guess not downstairs. I will once I stop the screws down there, but I'm going to wait to do that until I get all of this completely set, which I guess it kind of is now. And I am creating screws, but I don't want to stop the production on that other stuff if I don't have to, so which it may be already because of the belts. No, it's still kicking because it's got to fill those up too, so there'll be 100 of those that it fills up. But like I said, this is the screw setup here. Gets these guys going. I've got the plates, the rods, the plates. Now I've got the screws up here. Storage for the first two items, so your first components, like with the steel, our steel pipe is going to need the biggest storage of all of them, and then as you go on, you'll need less and less, less and less storage for the items. So the screws you still use in a lot of different areas, so that's why I made so many storage units for it. But plus they create a lot. I think they're stacks of 500 though, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely not stacks of 100. Yeah, stacks of 500. You can see it in my inventory. So we should be able to dismantle all the screws down there, all the screw conveyors, and then I'll wait to do that until I get the conveyors run. Come on. But like I said, I've got to get steel plates or steel beams for the bigger conveyors. And then we should be able to run those directly through here. I might have to run one. I can't run them side by side. I'll have to run them like this. But it should work. I hope. Come on. Nice. So I'll run them side by side until that point. Probably just on the ground, not up in the air. And then I'm going to need a splitter, aren't I? Oh no. No, I'm not. Because they're going to be separate belts. So I'm not going to run them together. I'm going to run them separate. My bad. But yeah, two belts coming through here. And then one will run on top of the other one, and then they'll split off. They'll both go up and over here and come down and loop around down at the bottom here. So it'd be pretty cool. It'd be a pretty clean setup. Put that guy there, and this is what they'll run on top of. Oh geez, don't fall off the edge. Definitely recommend getting the Blade Runners, because there's been a lot of instances where I've been building all this stuff and like I've fallen off of the storage or fallen off the side of the factory, and not taking any fall damage. It's not a huge deal. You shouldn't be building, well, I take that back. Some people are building stuff that's like massively tall. And you would die in that instance, but come on, why is this not going in here? But these blade runners help a ton, just mobility, so it seems like they're kind of an add-on, kind of, you know, something that's not really completely necessary, but they make a big difference. Oh, there, I got it. Hurry, hit the button. They do make a big difference. So, but that is that setup. I'll have to figure out how to get it to loop around. I might have to build a whole bunch of poles and just kind of get it to a spot where I can turn it in the middle here. But like I said, I need to make some things out of the steel, so we're not going to be able to do that right now. Hop up here real quick, take a look and see if there's anything else we can organize better. I don't think so. I think it's moving pretty good. Like I said, that should give us a ton of storage for those, and while it's running now, that will build up a huge stockpile of them, and then once we start cranking on the machines below, then we should have plenty of stock in here to keep those going for a long time. So that's why I like the storage, using the storage as a buffer. That way you can kind of gauge your factory, keep everything running. Even if you're overclocking something, if you need, you know, a certain number of, if you're trying to make a lot of iron plates for something and you got everything overclocked, you can overclock it for a while, and then once your inventory gets low, take that back off and then it'll build back up again. So definitely a good idea, like I said, to be using these storage units as buffers. So that's it for now. Like I said, I'll get those bigger belts built, and we will I'll get those run and get the screws and everything cleaned up downstairs, and then it's all about our final products down here, getting our final floor and our final things set up on the iron floor, and we'll move on to steel and get that all cranking. And once we have motors and stuff cranking out, I could manually upgrade to tier 5, but I really want to get all of this stuff moving, so I haven't done that yet. I was going to wait until I've got the motors being automated. So that floor over there should be really fun, getting all of this set up and going from there. So I appreciate you. Hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe, hit the bell. It'll give you a notification. I am on Twitter. I'm going to be on Twitch, working on all of that. So getting the channel built up. Just started not too long ago, but cranking out content as much as I can. You should see a video just about every single day, at least one at noon. Sometimes I can squeeze a second one in there at 11:30, so, and that's Eastern time, so Eastern Standard. I've got some red lights over there for some reason. Red lights and yellow lights. I wonder if they're full. But like I said, content every single day. And then if you, like I said, if you want to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it should come to you. I've got playlists set up as well, so if you're here for a specific content, a specific game, just hit that playlist button and it will redirect you. So appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next one.